What's going on, traders? Thank you so much for checking out this video. We're going to make it short and sweet today, doing a price action study over the main indexes or the indices here on TradingView platform. If you enjoy the content in this video, make sure to subscribe and smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. But let's go ahead and dive right into it. So right here is where market opened up to start this week. Now, we sold off very, very violently into the open of this week. And as you can see, as we look left to get right, we can see a very nice down to buy candle. So this is something that catches my eye, right? When we mark out the 50% of that, it was obviously respected over here to this side. So even though we had a very violent sell-off to start the week and how our overall market structure is bearish, as a intraday trend analysis, if this decides to respect, we could be seeing more bullish momentum. Now, I am in replay mode back to 9:30 a.m. this morning. Right now, it's about 3:45 p.m. So I'm going to show you guys the price action from New York session this morning and even a trade that I had recorded here on TradingView as well. So overall, bearish market structure, but could be looking for bullish intraday trends. Now from there, we're going to go ahead and dive into smaller time frames to look for imbalance, liquidity, and institutional candles. Perfect. So now here on the hour time frame, we're going to search for 3, 4, and 5. So let's go ahead and focus on the downside first, right? Let's look for imbalance. Well, if this was the low during London, right at 3 a.m., right, we have all of this imbalance that fills in this candle. So I'm going to go ahead and take it from here and run it out to the wick of this candle. We'll go ahead and change the color to our regular imbalance candle. So here's an imbalance, right? Look for liquidity. Well, you know, I know there's only one wick here, but there probably is some London liquidity hanging out under here, right? Institutional candles, we do have this last down move. So if the market were to push down into this area, this is what we want to look for. Now, what do we have to the upside that's above this wick right here at 9 o'clock? Well, as you can see, we have this last up candle before a down move. There's not much imbalance, but we do have this IT candle. Now, is there any liquidity? Well, technically, if this is going to act as liquidity, right, either this is going to act as your liquidity pool for New York, or, right, this could act as a liquidity pool for New York, right? So you have liquidity on both sides. Now you just got to wait for the market to go ahead and tell you its story. We're bullish ultimately, right? So yes, something below this would be great to move up, maybe into this candle, right? Maybe into the, 50% of this candle, whatever it may be. 33.10 looking like a beautiful price. As we look above, right, these are all just kind of highs. We do have this candle hiding up here. If we looked at the 50% of that, it's going to be at 33.65. But overall, that's pretty far for today's price action. So that's everything we can do on the 1 hour. Let's go down to the 15-minute. Now, as we look at the 15-minute time frame, right, now we're just going to refine our imbalance liquidity IT candles and really focus in on the time, because right here is 9:15, so market opens happening at 9:30. So now as we see, look, that hour candle makes a really nice 15-minute up candle down move that's actually now shown some evidence of imbalance hanging out up here, right? Perfect. That's exactly what we want to look for, right? We've seen other imbalances be filled through London and Asian session, through this consolidation. Now, as we look to the downside, right, we see that that hour candle now makes a nice 15-minute candle, right? We could make this imbalance, right, go ahead and refine it all down here and possibly be waiting to see which liquidity wants to get broken here on the 15-minute. Now, we're going to go down to the 5-minute time frame so I can let price action roll out for everybody. Now, as you all know, every morning is not going to be picture perfect. I was up late through London. I didn't end up taking any setups, but I actually slept through the 9 and 10 o'clock hours. So as I let out a couple candles, let some couple candles play out, we see that 9:30 hour, right, come trade into the liquidity and ultimately above the liquidity. And then we saw a very fast down movement. So hey, if you were looking to short above this liquidity, even on a smaller time frame, right, there was money to be made. But I understand that my overall bias is bullish. So I'm going to let the candles play out till about 10 o'clock. Now, what do you see? Even with that bullish bias, what do? We trade above the high, right, make a higher high. We come pull back into that last down candle, right, very perfectly, play the open to the 50%. And then we show more bullishness up to this candle. Now here it's about 10:20. So I woke up right about 10:30, right? Now at 10:30, it's in the middle of an hour, so I'm not entering. And number two, I didn't entirely like where price was at. If I would have been awake, I slept till about 10:30. So if I would have seen price at 9:45, 10 o'clock, we may have been able, right? Because if we showed that evidence, price doesn't have to come break this liquidity zone by any means. This is over 30 points away. So if you're thinking buy setups with stops anywhere up underneath this low, that could be very valid to bring it up above, again, this high, or ultimately up near that 33.10 price. Ultimately up near that 33.10 price. But again, I was asleep for this. So what happened? I'm going to let two more candles play out. If we start trading lower to where now I could take my focus off this candle and put my focus on this candle. Now I'm going to go ahead and go into the minute time frame here because I really want to show you all what I executed on. And it's not going to show my executions till I'm out of replay mode, but I ended up taking a small loss, but I'm going to show you guys how you can still profit because your overall bias was still bullish. So watch this. As I come down in the minute time frame, right? We showed evidence of bullishness, right? We have very clean candles over here, right? What did we have? Down candle, traded above, respected it. Down candle, and we've already respected it. So what I was looking for in this 1 minute price action was really this candle right here, right? With a stop up underneath this low. Stop up underneath this low. So again, entering around 88, taking about a 7-point risk, right? A 7.6 to 7 point risk for about 15 to, again, 22 is my 3-to-1 risk to reward up top here. So what happens as I play out a couple candles? So you guys are going to see after replay, I entered on this candle. All right. And what the market did is, right, it came down, it traded above this, right? And I saw some evidence and it was great, but ultimately we came and traded through my stop. Now, this is what's important, right? If this low was taken and this low was taken and this low was taken, right? What lies to the left of this low to where if there was still a buying area between that liquidity area, that 32.68 and 32.78, right? This 10-point range, is there something that we could play? Well, as we look, right, we had this, but we can see we've already traded through it. This is really your last evidence. Look, again, everything's very clean over here. Down candle, respect, respect, respect. You have this down candle where ultimately, you know, you could take the 50% of this and be on the lookout for it. Now, with looking for entries here, you got to understand now your stop loss, right, will be underneath this low. So that liquidity area. Now it could come equal out that liquidity area. But again, I took a 7-point stop. If I wait for the price of 72 to be traded into, right, I could take a second entry and risk another 5 points, right? 13 points altogether for me being bullish on the pair. So watch what happens. And again, I got to wait for the right time now, right? It's 10:59, so we got to let some candles play out. What do we see, right? We get the play into 72, and now, you know, what's the risk to reward looking like? You know what I mean? Now we're risking about 5 points to target even just these highs is going to be 30. So a 6-to-1 ratio just here, right? I took my first loss, but now you let this play out, right? What did we get? We had that one candle down. We had that trade back up. Right? What do we get? We get that trade back up at that ultimately, right? This was the last low that I was trading off of, right? I was trading here. What did we do? This was where that initial sell started. We trade back into that sell. We drop back down into a deep retracement, which hit the open of this minute candle. So now you just want to start looking for the evidence of the institutions, right? We get near the liquidity, candle down, move up, candle down, move up, right? So now you could potentially just start positioning yourself in, you know, any continuous buy positions you guys will see. And I mean, again, And again, things get in the way. I was away from the computer as it stopped me out, and I wasn't able to take a second entry here on TradingView. I do have it on my MetaTrader 4. For anybody that doesn't believe me, you're more than welcome to message me, and I'll show you what's up. I'm here doing my best to show you guys trade management, but again, sometimes things get in the way. I got stopped out here. You'll see that after this, and ultimately here. But as you see, what the market did, and I could pull back into a 5-minute time frame now, is we've respected these levels, and the market went ahead and traded over our 3303 price. As you can see, what happens when we get to 3310, right? That old institutional candle in imbalance. We're going to see short-term rejection off of 3310. This is where you scale here, right? And then ultimately, right, we come trade a little bit higher as we look left of this, right? What do we also have? We have more, smaller imbalance hanging out up here, right? You have prices of like 3220, that 3220 level. So I think that's ultimately where price ended up getting into. As we go ahead, and I'll just play out all the price action, right? So look, right, we played right into that 3320 level. So again, this was very beautiful. You can see now, right, that I have all of price action played out. Where I entered this morning on TradingView, right? I entered as we entered this down candle. I entered here. I, hung out for a little bit. It ended up stopping me out, right? And again, look at this ultimate stop out candle, right? The candle that stopped me, I had to let that accumulation play out a little bit longer, and it's ultimately that last IT candle down retracement that pushed up above the area. So I think that this was very beautiful price action. That's how you can search it on smaller time frames. And so I found this to be very beautiful, right? How did this look on other indices across the board, right? Because even though I only focus on the S&P here, right, you're going to see similar price structure to everything else, right? We respected this low. That's why I was okay with the buy positions. Right? Let's look at something like US 30, right? We actually made a lower low for New York. So still probably a clean schematic in here. It's just not something I was looking for because we definitely could have dipped deeper down in the imbalance. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ, right? Look at the NASDAQ. Beautiful, right? We had that London low, and that London low was respected right here. Even a little bit cleaner, I would say, than S&P, right? Because here's the open of that down candle. So ultimately, very clean price action. I might just flash up a screenshot here of the little MetaTrader 4 icon so you guys can see that. Again, even though I was away from the computer, I'm still able to execute that trade here around the 72 area with that 4 pip stop, right? As you can see in the screenshot, I already had my stop loss up above because we were trading up here around 3,300. And ultimately, I took profits at 3,310. But I hope you guys enjoyed this walkthrough. I hope it was insightful. And let's continue to have a bullish week of trading.